Every once in a while, I think, what has it all meant? What has the past 10 years of my life, your life, all of our lives who have played Destiny and invested a ton of time into the game meant? All of the memories meeting you guys, all the great stories we've been a part of together as a community. One of the most fiery, passionate, and caring communities out there. We can meme that it gets toxic. We can meme on all parts of the game. But truthfully, the community has carried Destiny through the years more so than anything else. But I think I speak for everyone when I say the community has had enough. It's so tiring constantly thinking of news that has Destiny in a vice grip. People making videos talking about this being the end. The articles coming out every day that spell doom for the game. Normally, I cover your stories in the Destiny community. I have for years. I would say that this channel is a combination of older stories, fun adventures of day one raids, some dungeons, community triumphs, my opinions, whatever else. But this story is yours just as much as it is mine. The question left to ask is this the story that you guys have finally had enough of? I think it's pretty uncontroversial to say that the majority of people who are watching this video know what I'm about to talk about. However, for those of you who have been living under a rock for the past few weeks, Destiny, it's not really in a good state right now. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, duh, of course. What's new, Evan? But this time, it's more than just a meltdown. This is way more serious. Let me briefly explain. In the past few weeks, Bungie laid off a large chunk of their staff across all teams, in part due to Bungie's annual revenue being 45% lower than expected. And it's because of a massive drop-off in player retention post-lightfall. I don't want to dwell on this too long, but this is really bad. And also, more important than the game, more important than the narrative or the meta or whatever new busted weapon is ruining the Crucible, this is people's jobs. This is their passion and livelihood that have been axed overnight by Bungie. Some employees who had been at Bungie since the days of Halo were let go, Oni even. And they even laid off Michael Salvatore, composer king of some of the most killer soundtracks ever to be heard by gamers. Additionally, the final shape, the literal final piece of the 10-year puzzle, has been delayed until at least June 2024. Hell, we don't even know when the actual release date for Final Shape will be. And I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that some of the developers themselves don't even know when it will be released at this point. We've had reports that developers, individuals who have genuine passion for the game, were begging upper management to make changes that would benefit player base first and bring people back to the game. This is honestly just kind of depressing, and it has definitely had an effect on the player morale going forward. To condense the community mood into one example, I was streaming on Twitch recently, and someone put something along the lines of "Destiny is dead lol" into chat. You know the vibes. It happens all the time, right? They usually get clowned on. But this time, it was different. This time, chat actually cheered this guy on. People were reacting with the Giga Chat emote. It got me thinking about the future of the Destiny community. And funnily enough, that coincided with me appearing on a panel hosted by Above with Manodestra and xGladd. During the panel, I was thinking about the future plans that Bungie have cooking, and it made me consider if there's a chance that it's not all rain clouds ahead. Let me explain a little bit more. Yeah, at the minute people are super apathetic, and for good reason. The game is not in a good state right now, and the community as a whole is just tired. However, that doesn't mean that Marathon is guaranteed to fail. If anything, it might succeed in the ways we can't imagine right now. I know what you're thinking. Stop it, Evan. You can't get us excited. But think about it for a second, guys. Bungie has done this 10-year journey in the past before, and it gave us Destiny out of the bones of Halo. That being said, it's undeniable that this game we all love and cherish has been struggling to find its feet again since Shadowkeep. On top of that, the community sentiment is lower than it has been for a long, long time. Possibly even more than it was during the Curse of Osiris in Warmind times, which is really saying something. I have seen some reactions that made me want to make this video to begin with. The community sentiment, the I've had enough mentality, and I wanted to echo my own personal side of this whole story. To quote some of the comments, it's genuinely disgusting how Bungie got away with so much scummy shit, and it took years for the fanbase to wake up. I've never thought that I would step off Destiny until a year ago. For me, it's not about a good or bad expansion, it's the way they treat us. Like, dude, how much money do you need? Eververse, seasons, dungeon keys, expansions. Each year, they're adding something that makes me feel bad that I'm playing it. I really want to play Destiny, but each time I log in, it's the same as it was. I truly miss this game. Bungie doesn't need a win, but a holy miracle for the final sale, shape. Player sentiment towards the final shape was low before this news broke out, but now it's probably going to be a record low. I was around for Osiris Warmind, and while it was gloomy, I don't recall if it was this gloomy. This final comment is quite interesting. Community sentiment had really gone to the dogs when Curse of Osiris and Warmind were released. Not least because Bungie had abandoned the heart and soul of Destiny so that they could cash in on a popular gaming trend of the era. However, they somehow managed to bounce back and create something truly special. Some of you might have caught my previous video about how Bungie absolutely has to make an expansion that exceeds even Forsaken. A Forsaken 2. They have done the Forsaken before, but in order to contextualize this in the face of the issue with the final shape, we really need to understand exactly why Forsaken was as phenomenal as it was. But more importantly, what did Forsaken do for the community? Let's start with the Bungie studio motto at the time. We make games we want to play. It's almost difficult to put into words just how much the average player could feel this sentiment coming through when Forsaken was released. After the completely lackluster experience of Curse of Osiris and Warmind, Forsaken felt like something completely new. Of course, it would be silly not to mention the return of random roll weapons and special weapons in the kinetic and energy slots. It would be silly not to mention the immersive campaign and genuinely compelling storytelling that we hadn't really seen for a while. It would be really silly not to mention the vast swaths of new exotics, weapons, maps, activities, and so on that were brought into the game. But somehow, Forsaken was more than all of that. Forsaken both expanded the game's content, but also broadened the horizons of everything that Destiny had the potential to offer the player. The ways in which brand new secrets interlinked with challenging content like raids to ever exist in the game, combined with the new ideas about an extending, continuous story in the forms of seasons, ultimately brought players together in a way that strengthened the community beyond belief. I think if I had to condense it into one small statement, it would be that Forsaken added so much more new of everything into Destiny. Lightfall did not do that. And hell, Witch Queen, despite having a great campaign and a stellar story, was lacking when it came to content added into the game post-release of the DLC. Ultimately, I think two things can be true at the same time. The first is that Bungie have to go for broke in attempting to surpass everything that Forsaken brought to the table. Otherwise, they will never again reach the same heights that their game once did. And it would be a bitter pill to swallow to have to watch this 10-year journey come to a monetized, depressing end. Simultaneously, the second thing is that the future of Destiny content creators, large and small, is going to change somewhat drastically in the coming months as the shadow of the delayed final shape looms on the horizon. So let's discuss what that means for me. As some of you already know, I have a second channel that covers much more than Destiny-related content. I have been making videos covering a ton of popular games where are you ready for this one? Explain crazy events, secrets, and mysteries, as well as other things that have happened in them. Making variety content is something I've been branching out into for almost a year now, and while Destiny is of course my main game, it's been fun dipping my toes into storytelling about some of the weirdest events in Elden Ring, Call of Duty, Bloodborne, Zelda, and more to come. However, the recent events concerning Bungie, the final shape, and, well, Destiny as a whole, have made me really begin to consider exactly where I want the future of these channels to go. Of course, it would be crazy to say that I don't want to stick around to see out the end of Destiny. Like, come on, I started my Destiny journey in 2014, just before Bungie released the original Destiny 1. I'm in it until the end. That being said, you might see me begin to produce more and more variety content on my second channel. Don't worry, that doesn't mean I'm not going to keep making Destiny videos. I know you guys can't live without them, and I always have a craving for them. They're like the YouTube version of insulin. In all seriousness though, I know that a lot of creators are beginning to say similar things about moving into variety, just a little bit more than before. But I want every last one of you, that's right, even you, Cheesy Trials player blasting Juice WRLD, to remember that I could have never done anything I've achieved without the stellar members of this community, without you guys. I will always be appreciative of the people who have allowed me to do something I genuinely love doing, even though some of you follow me purely for Destiny content only, which is fine, you do you. I'm really excited for all of you to see what's coming in the future. Better believe me when I say we're nowhere near done yet. Just as a teaser, the complete history of Raid Cheeses, one of my biggest videos ever, only went up to the reprised Vault of Glass. And Lord knows, there have been some ridiculous cheeses in the raids since then. It might take some time, but I'm going to do part 2, because there's nothing funnier than watching aspirational content get trivialized by some madman with nothing but a plan and maybe a hilarious yeet glitch. The 15th Wish looks to be a thing next season too, so expect some major coverage aside from the normal Destiny content that you guys receive. There is so much to look forward to. I want to bring you guys an even bigger raid zone than ever before. We all know just how intensely exciting, nerve-wracking, and above all, special day one raid races are. So CB Gray and I want to do as best we can. I just know that despite the rough time ahead, you guys have the spirit and dedication to show up and show out, and we're going to make it a banger. You guys already know just how committed I am to streaming on Twitch, and I just know for a fact we're going to push for that sweet 70-30 split together. And I'm damn sure we're going to get there as a community. I've got some crazy projects in the works, like this weekend, I will be casting the speedrun time attack tournament for the speedrun side of Destiny. I want to do more live events, casting the next dungeon competition that I create, and more. Of course, there's no end to the amount of Destiny content that'll come in the foreseeable future. What's the next season going to look like? How the hell is it all going to play out? Will the chadliest weapon ever, aka the Pocket Infinity, make a glorious comeback? I have no idea, but you can be guaranteed that we'll be finding out together as a community. So, to conclude, this one has been a bit of a roller coaster to say the least. Everyone in the Destiny community has been rocked by the crazy news about the layoffs and the delay of the final shape. And I think a lot of people, including me, have really had to reevaluate where they stand regarding the franchise's involvement in their lives. For creators such as myself, it's a bit different, because this franchise being involved in our lives helps us make a living. But we're all in the same boat of thinking. What does it mean to be a fan of Destiny 2 at this moment? Let's be real for a second. We're all here to see how the end plays out. No matter how it happens, I don't know how anyone could say otherwise and not be fooling about. But to get back to what it all means, I think that despite having so much amazing stuff happen in the community over the past 10 years, despite all of the memories meeting you guys, despite the togetherness and fun we've fostered over this time, we're all just tired. We're willing to stick it out for one more ride, but this time, it's gonna need to be different. We need something absolutely killer from Bungie, something that goes beyond holding a candle to Forsaken. We need something that outshines everything that came before. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. All of you guys make a good thing better.
It's three symbols or And then I fucked my dad.